DMVPN in the context of OSPF, when we're running in phase 3, changes the rules once more. But again, as long as we take into account exactly what Cisco recommends and we look at the base behavior, things are going to be relatively simple to configure. We've seen how easy it is to actually do the configuration with regard to getting to phase 3. It's 2 commands, one on the hub, one on the router, redirect command on the hub, the shortcut command, IP NHRP shortcut on the spoke, so that we can actually bypass the hub and be able to reach our dynamic neighbors without having to navigate the hub. We even entertained the engagement of the CEF table with regard to next hop reachability. So again, what I want to do right now is dive right into a command line configuration where we're going to make OSPF run on our DMVPN configuration. Let's go ahead and make it happen. And first we need to rip out EIGRP. So what we'll do is we'll come up here and say config T, no router EIGRP 100, no router EIGRP 100, no router EIGRP 100, and lastly, no router EIGRP 100. No, we do not need to, Shurkanth is asking if we need to remove the next hop. In EIGRP, we need to remove it. It is recommended that we actually take that configuration off. Running EIGRP on the DMVPN phase 3 tunnel. Yes, it is recommended that we remove it. So let me rephrase that. We're removing the no command. It's not, Cisco says that we do not want to change the next hop modification. It's perfectly fine for it to stay the default, which is to the device to actually change it to itself. So the next hop self behavior stays based in Cisco's recommendation. So looking at this, what I want to do is I want to get OSPF up and running quickly. So what we'll do is on the hub, I'm going to enable it. We're going to again just use OSPF area 0. So router OSPF 1, we're going to say network 222, all zeros, and area 0. And network 10, 10, 10, 2, area 0. Interface tunnel 0, IP OSPF network point to multipoint. I mean, that's pretty much all there is to this. So we cut over to R4, interface tunnel 0, IP OSPF network point to multipoint, router OSPF 1, network 4.4.4. We'll just advertise the loopbacks into area 0, and then we'll advertise the tunnel interfaces. Oop. Messed that up, didn't I? There we go. 5. Router OSPF 1, network 5.5.5, area 0, and network 10, 10, 10, 5, area 0. Lastly, 6. Point to multipoint. 6.6.6.6, area 0, and network 10, 10, 10, 6. Area 0. End. Show IP OSPF interface brief, point to multipoint, loopback. Go to 5, do show IP OSPF interface brief, point to multipoint, loopback, show IP OSPF interface brief, point to multipoint, and then lastly on the hub, do show IP OSPF interface brief, and we see point to multipoint. So let's look at this and see what we have now. Show IP OSPF neighbors. Full, full, and full. Show IP route, OSPF, We have 4, 5, and 6. Go over to 4, show IP route, OSPF. We have 2, 5, and 6. Let's double check reachability. Now there's something I want to point out here. We've had this all along, but now that we're winding down, there's not a lot to talk about in the confines of OSPF. Point to multi-point configuration on the tunnels. We don't have to worry about priority because in point to multi-point we have no DR, and we leave the configuration as it is such that we have the redirect and the shortcuts on the individual devices. And again, it's pretty straightforward. However, there is one thing I want to point out here. Show IP route, OSPF. Notice what we see in the routing table right now. Notice we have these percentage symbols. Never saw those before. So let's take a look at show IP route, and let's take a look at, by looking at it. Notice it says the dollar sign tells me that we're going to employ next hop override. Now these entries in my routing table are going to be where we're being told by the next hop server that we want to use the best or most optimized route. So don't lose sight of these. A lot of people freak out when they see these, but what I also want to point out here is show DMVPN. All right, when we go through here, what we're going to see is if we look at this, we have dynamic, we have DT2. So that's dynamic tunnel 2, dynamic tunnel 2. And then we have these statics. Now the thing is, show IP OSPF neighbors, we still only have formed a peering relationship with the hub. So, I mean, that directly plays into the way things are going to translate for us. So right now, the question is do I have reachability to every device? So ping 5.5.5.5. Let's do a trace. Goes direct. Let's ping 4.4.4, or actually let's ping 6.6.6. And it goes straight. Now I honestly think that the Cisco recommends that we use these point to multi-point configurations so we get those /32s that makes this process much easier to implement than, say, for instance, like the broadcast configuration. But again, it's important for us to note that we have everything that we need. It was just a handful of commands, and OSPF in the confines of working with our DMVPN Phase 3 is much, much easier to configure than what we might initially consider at first blush. But the main thing that we need to understand is we use the IP NHRP redirect and shortcut commands. We do not have to use the IP OSPF priority commands. And as we go through here, Cisco's recommendation is that we use this in a point to multi-point configuration. So, I mean, you see, it's pretty straightforward how it works and very, very easy to work with. So what I'm going to do is this pretty much wraps this portion of the video. Just a few things that we need to remember, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which is going to cover encryption. I'll see you guys over there. Bye-bye.